be here more.
Yeah, you can.
I want to share a very important story with you today. It's a story I think everyone should hear. Before he died, a father said to his son, "Here is a watch your grandfather gave me. It's almost 200 years old. Before I give it to you, go to the jewelry store in the city. Tell them that I want to sell it and see how much they offer you." The son went to the jewelry store, came back to his father and said, "They offered $100 because it is so old." The father said, "Well, try the pawn shop." The son went to the pawn shop, came back to his father and said, "The pawn shop offered only $20 because it has a scratch." The father asked his son to go to the museum and show them the watch. The son quietly questioned his father's judgment, but still willing to act on his father's last wishes, he went to the museum, and when he came back, he said to his father, "The curator offered $375,000 for this rare piece to be included in their precious antique collection." The father responded, "I wanted to show you that the right place will value you in the right way. Don't find yourself in the wrong place and get angry because you are not valued. Never stay in a place where someone doesn't see your value or you don't feel appreciated. If you don't know your value, you will always settle for far less than you deserve. People who don't know their value settle for far less than they are worth. In relationships or their friendships, when it comes to their profession or their job, they know they are worth more, but they settle for someone else's definition of their worth. That is the difference between most people and the few. That is the difference between people who love the life they have created for themselves and those who can't stand the life they are living. You have to know your worth. Most people will allow just about anyone to influence their perception of themselves. But people who love their life refuse to accept the opinions of small-minded people. They refuse to be put in a box. They will not be defined by anyone but themselves. They know their value is set by themselves, by their own thoughts about who they are, not someone else's opinion of what they are worth. Don't let them put a price on you. You set your own price. And don't go giving discounts to other people so you can fit in or be liked. People pleasers never end up happy in the end. Put yourself first. You must build your self-worth by the work you do every day. You build it by the way that you show up every single day in and day out. No excuses, no shortcuts, just a relentless dedication to be the best that you can be. If you have someone in your life that tries to diminish your abilities in any way, the time has come to move those people along. It's time to awaken that part of you that demands more from your life. Because only you know what you are truly capable of. It's time to wake up and shock the world. Shock those who doubted you with a disturbing level of determination. Shock those who doubted you with a commitment to excellence that cannot be matched by those of weak heart. Shock those who doubted you with the actions you take today as you draw a line in the sand and commit to becoming the person no one thought you could be, because only you know what you are truly capable of. In this world, you only have to earn the respect of one person. That person is you. You determine the level you demand of yourself. It's time to demand more. It's time to prove once and for all who you are, who you will become, and what you will never settle for again. Raise your standards. Rise up to a higher level. And let no one question your integrity again. Day by day, brick by brick, you start now. You build the foundations through the self-work you put in every single day. Build yourself up by becoming an unbreakable force, an unstoppable machine, fueled by the results you get from the work you put in today and every day, from this day until your last day. No more will you settle for someone else's opinion of your value. Now you determine your value through your self-worth, your self-education, your self-determination of your own destiny, the destiny that is in your hands. Your pride grows stronger every day from the work you put in. The time for change is now. When it comes to your own self-worth, there is no tomorrow. Know your worth and never, ever settle for anything less.
Good afternoon, everybody. Ooh, that's a very strong video. Makes me feel real good about myself, that's for sure. I hope you guys are, I know I'm a little late with getting this second video up, but like everything, when you're trying to do something good, something don't go right. But that's okay. We just keep pushing forward and forward and forward and forward until it gives, and then we get on with what needs to be done. So I hope you guys got your notebooks out and are ready to go. As you see, today we're going to work on your self-worth. And believe it or not, everybody, usually says, oh, my self-worth is good. But then you get down to what self-worth is, they start to find out they need a little work in that area, because self-worth is self-love. That's the number one thing you need to know about what self-love is. Self-love and self-worth is the same thing. It means being on your own team, nobody else. It's like a tennis player. When they're out on the court, they're the only one there. It means giving yourself the same respect, dignity, and understand you want for your loved ones. Sounds pretty good, don't it? Remember that. Write it down. Self-worth is self-love. And the consequences of low self-worth, well, they can be huge. You can be really big in your life. Low self-worth is often the cause of, not the effect of hardships in your life, but rather the cause of things in your life, like whether that's financial, relationships, physical, and so on. So a lot of people say, I have things like that, but I don't really know how to address it because it just keeps happening to me. But I feel good about myself, but it keeps happening to me. Well, how do you make that change? It comes down to changing how you think about things. Just like we covered in the first video about self-respect. A lot of people think I'm that way as well. I think that I got a lot of self-respect, a lot of self-worth. But I can always learn to have more. So today I'm going to teach you about 10 different habits and beliefs that people with a high sense of worth consistently demonstrate. That's why you need your notebooks. So get them out. And these are just simple concepts that I'm going to cover that they may seem a little strange, especially if you spent a lifetime struggling with confidence or self-esteem. But if you can consistently work to adapt these beliefs about yourself, then they can pay off big time in all areas of your life. So I'm going to go through these really, slow enough for you to write them down, because I'm not trying to get you to rush through these things or skip these things. Don't skip any of the 10 things. Write it down even if you think you don't have a problem or you're not weak in these things. Because we learn a little bit every time of the things that are going to make us stronger. And that's what all of these videos like this are about. On YouTube streets, people find a way to knock us down, whether it's hurting our feelings, disregarding, we disregard what we believe in and give in to their ways of doing things. We just seem to lose ourselves and then over time find ourselves in something we don't want to be in. We don't believe in it. We're kind of fearful to leave it because we all know people get attacked for leaving certain content places. But it's okay. We can work on making ourselves stronger so that we can break free of those places and get back to us in a stronger way. You can get yourself back. Maybe it's just to stand up to people in your life and not on YouTube. It's okay. That's what we're doing this for. We're doing an empowerment series just to help you find those little places that need help. So let's start and take a few minutes to listen to the 10 beliefs and then pick up a couple and try to work on yourself and see what happens. That's all it is. We're working on something from video 1 and 1A, and this is 2. So if you need to go back, don't worry about it. The videos are up for you to go back whenever you feel like you need a little refresher. So here we go with number 1. These are, let me tell you again, these are 10 thoughts and beliefs of people with high self-worth. Here we go with number 1. The thought is, no matter what I've done or haven't done, I'm worthy of love. Write that down. No matter what you have done or haven't done, you're worthy of love. A person with a high sense of self-worth takes responsibility for their mistakes, But they don't degrade themselves. They may say, like, I had a goof. I did a bad thing. But they don't say they're bad. They say they're sorry when they need to and do what they can to make things right. They don't grieve alone, but they lean on their loved ones for support whenever they need it. They don't do, sorry, my paper's flying. They know that they're not the only person who's experienced this. I can't think of one thing in the whole world that one person only has experienced and no one else has ever experienced it. That would be very hard to come up with. And on the other hand, or the other side of things, the self-worth person does not become overly dependent on success, flattery, and adornments. See, this person is confident and takes pride in their achievements. They show grace and humility too. They don't do things to get love. They do things for the love of them. Big statement there. They don't do things to get love. They do things for the love of them. So see that, this person in step 1 welcomes both success and failure, both of which are usually useful, but it's never a barometer for your worth. A lot of people think they have high self-esteem and self-worth, but sometimes we don't. Think about when you get sad or hurt by somebody and left a relationship. We don't think very much of ourselves then. And this is where this can come into play. Second step, or second, number 2 is my things do not define me. No, they don't. Because think about this here. Number 2 is my things do not define me. I'm not my clothes I wear, the car I drive, or the relationship I do or don't have. You are not the clothes you wear, you're not the car you drive, and you're not the relationship you do or you don't have. Of course, it's healthy and even fun to enjoy these things in life with a solid self-worth and durability, and do so with joy. It's a good thing. But you also have to recognize that money comes and goes. Relationships end. Accidents happen. Things lose value, break down, get lost, get old, and die. You have to think of that and not just give it more value than you think that it's never going to die on you here. Sometimes I think people do that mostly with the items they buy, like the car, the house, all of that, but we don't tend to think that way about people. Sorry for making all that noise there. I know it's a little loud, especially in the type of microphone that I have, which is an AGK, very nice microphone. The person who honors their worthlessness, their worthiness, knows that they can enjoy external things without attaching their identity to them. The things you drop, my car is not my identity. My clothes are not my identity. Who I'm dating doesn't have my identity. They might be a part of me, a part of my life, but they're not my identity. They're not who I am. They appreciate what they have while they have it. That's me right there for sure. And wholeheartedly strives to get what they truly want. You have to keep trying. Never give up on what you truly want. Don't settle for that being, well, it's not what I wanted, but it'll do. That's not what we're aiming for. But they all know that even without these things, they can still look in the mirror and say, I'm enough. I can look in the mirror every day and say, I'm enough. I might have been beat down by the military, tore up by the military, but at the end of the day, I'm still enough. TBI in my brainstem, and I'm enough. You got to go through a lot of things and still be able to say, I am enough. Never talk down to yourself. Especially if people are talking down about you, then you honestly think that you start to believe those things about yourself. Oh, I'm not good enough, or they would have stayed. I was doing this, but they didn't see the value of it. No, I'm good enough. They just weren't good enough for me. Number 3, I'm allowed to feel whatever I'm feeling. I'm allowed these feelings. They're mine. People with self-worth are not always happy. They feel all of the same things that everybody else feels. The difference is the person with a solid sense of self-worth creates a space for their emotions without feeling guilty about them. I don't feel guilty about any feeling that I have. I just try to categorize it and put it in the right place. I might feel bad about something, but I got to put it in its right place. People understand their emotions are just tools that they're helping them to pay attention. That's all it is. It's a tool that helps you pay attention to one particular thing going on right now in your life. They notice their emotions and allow them to be their true self. And when a person no longer needs these emotions, they simply let it go. That's what you got to do. You just got to let it go sometimes. Because when you're done feeling sad, you move on to other emotions that make you ready to conquer the world. And that's how you need to be all the time, though. Yes, you're going to feel sad sometimes, but in hurt and all kinds of things, but you're not staying there. You never let yourself stay there. You're better than that. Let's go to number 4. I delight in the joy of missing out. There you go. Now there's something. What does that mean? A self-worthy person is not afraid to be alone. I'm not afraid to be alone. No way, no how. Everybody knows what it's like to feel alone. Sometimes you just need your space. They love hanging out with their closest friends, family, but also cherish solo time. You got to cherish your solo time. You need it to recharge. Hello, everybody in here. I can't see y'all because you're not commenting, but it's okay. Just give a little hello, and I'm saying hello to you. It's all right. This person doesn't go to parties and events simply because they're afraid to be left out. They're not afraid to be left out. They believe people who really matter will always welcome them. And even if they don't, they will still be okay on their own. They don't allow people to encroach on their privacy. That is a problem I see on these YouTube streets. Privacy is what you don't want people to know this. Just because they ask you about it doesn't mean they have the right to know it. That's a big problem here on YouTube. People saying, oh, I don't believe this about you. Prove it. I don't have to prove anything to you. I don't have to prove anything at all to you. Because I'm creating a firm boundary for myself. That means on YouTube, you don't need to know my private life. You don't need to know anything about me that I don't want you to know. Draw that boundary around yourself and refuse to cross it. That is your right. And if they don't believe you, who cares? It's not their place across that line, closer to you. A lot of people really need to remember that. You draw a circle around yourself and you say, behind this line is my private thoughts, my private feelings, my private friends, my private life. And I will not allow anyone to cross over in this line, no matter how much they make fun of me, how much they say, prove it, it's not true. Your self-worth makes you say, no, this is mine. And I value myself, and I value others, and I value what's behind this line as mine. That shows your self-worth and what you're not willing to do and what you are. It's your boundaries that you set. You invite people into your life who has earned the right to be there. Let's go to number 5. It's not about what happens. It's about how you respond to what happens. See, people with a high sense of self-worth haven't had easier lives than people who don't know. We sure haven't. I simply remember that they are responsible for their feelings, thoughts, and actions, just like I was talking about. They simply remember that only they are responsible for their feelings, thoughts, and actions. We were just talking about that right before I said this. They don't stay stuck in victimhood. They don't spend too much time in feeling sorry for themselves when the shit hits the fan. It's not that people with self-worth never feel bad or get down. They do. We all do. The difference is how they handle the feelings they get. That's very important to remember. Number 6 is, I do what I love and love what I do. This is all about you. It's not other people on the YouTube streets. It's not what other people call out to you. Doing these things may be the big change in your life that changes you for the first time. That lets you truly be free and authentic you that maybe people haven't seen. And it's scary, but it's okay. You need to do number 6. I do what I love and I love what I do. Write these questions down so later you can get to answering them on your own in your own free time. When you take time for yourself today, write these questions down and answer them. What do I value most in life is the first one. Again, number 1. What do you value most in life? Give you a few minutes there before I go on to the second one. Now, I always take notes before I do my empowerment sessions because I make sure that I say, don't waste your time in coming to these empowerment classes by saying not important information. Question number 2 is, what do you look forward to doing? Write it down. Number 1 was, what do you value most in life? Number 2, what do you look forward to doing? Question number 3 is a good question too here. You have to dig deep on it in your private time writing about this. Nobody needs to see the stuff you write. It's only for you. But question 3 is, what would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? What would you do if you knew you couldn't fail at something? Or what would you still do even if you knew you would fail? What would you do if you couldn't fail? And what would you still want to do even if you knew you'd fail at it? Kind of a tricky question, but a valuable question. See, a self-worthy person puts their needs first. A lot of people don't know that. They would be like, oh, isn't that kind of being selfish? No. These things I'm teaching you aren't about being selfish. They're about being you putting yourself first. That's how you got lost in the first place. We're taught as kids to do for others before ourselves. But then no one forgot to teach us as we got older as an adult that it's okay if we put ourselves first. To have self-respect, to have self-value, to have self-worth, to put our feelings first before the other person. A lot of people are still stuck on what we taught as kids, to put others first and push our feelings to the side. No, I'm a grown-up. I don't live there no more. I don't have to be ugly. I don't have to be rude, but I still have to put my feelings first. A self-worthy person puts their needs first. And notice doesn't mean you're selfish. It means that um, they know it is each person's responsibility to put their own needs first. So if I put my needs first and you put your needs first, we're going to have an understanding and a conversation that fits both of our needs, and it's going to be nice, calm, and goes in a way that works for both of us. No hard feelings, no nothing. If both people stick to their own needs, see that you just know that you can only love and help others to the extent that they love and help themselves. So they can make time and set aside energy to invest in the life they want, and you can do the same thing. Invest in the life you want, not somebody else's dreams of a life for you. Number 7, I see myself in others. Self-worth requires the belief that the world is like a mirror. That might be scary, but it's true. If people are judging you, it's because you are reflecting a part of themselves that they have yet to accept. Starts a lot of fights too. You ever talk to one of your friends and then all of a sudden things that went left and you don't really know why? Well, because they saw themselves and a part they don't like about themselves in you at that moment, and it ticked them off and they went home. And you're left there going, what the heck just happened? You didn't do nothing. No, you didn't. You didn't do nothing at all. It's that simple. Their judgment may hurt, but ultimately it's about them. So they hurt themselves. And it doesn't have to become your truth. Their judgment can only hurt you to the extent that you hold the judgment against yourself and repeat it. They're doing that to themselves by looking through you. You didn't do anything to them. Even if they want to blame it on you, they've taken their self-worth, put it on you, and come back and saw themselves and they didn't like what they saw. So they need to work on their self-hurt. Number 8, I believe in something greater than myself. You don't have to believe in God or subscribe to an organized religion to have self-worth. But God is a big factor in my life. I'm just saying. God is all about my self-worth because he gives me that power of myself. He really helps me, but you don't have to believe in God or subscribe to an organized religion to have self-worth. But having a belief in some higher power, unifying connection between everyone and everything, can be enough to help you keep things in perspective. Even that part of humanity that existed before you were born and that you will contribute to and leave behind when they're gone. See, a person with high sense of self-worth is neither full of themselves nor thinks that the world revolves around them. Hey, the world don't revolve around you. Don't revolve around me either. A lot of people need to learn that. I can think of a content creator who talks more about themselves and how their life is and what they do and why they do it, and is very much about pointing at their own beliefs and what they do and how they do it. And if you just did what they did, then you'd be perfect and fine. No, that's not how it works. Don't be like somebody else. Be yourself. Have your own self-worth, your own respect, your own rules, your own circle. Number 9 is every day I find things to be grateful for. That's a big one to me. Because see, gratitude is a daily practice for people with high self-worth. These, people appreciate the small and the big gifts of life and express appreciation whenever and however they can. Come on, if you had, I don't know, got a big car and big house and all this, you would be having gratitude to that house, to that car, but you're forgetting the people. The people to people. It's pretty easy to feel grateful when you see things. When it's pretty, sorry. When it's easy to feel grateful when things are going well. That's the truth, right? We're all full of, just thank yous, whatever, happy. Oh, go ahead. It don't matter. Everything's fine as long as everything is going well. The true challenge is to find things you can say thank you for when you're dealing with one of the greatest challenges in your life. When things aren't going well. You can only do this if you're willing to detach yourself. Detach your sense of worthiness from the attachment and the external circumstances. Can you detach yourself from those things and still show wealth of it? Show the wealth of it in you? It doesn't have to be a dollar sign. 10. The story I tell about my life means everything. The way you think influences the way you live. If you can believe this statement and you start changing your thoughts based on your belief, expect to experience some serious growth, new opportunities, and deepening and hungry, empowering sense of love. So I want you to ask yourself some more questions here so you can see what kind of life story you're telling yourself. Question number 1. What do you always, never, or should, or ought to do? What should you? These are the choices. Always, never, should, or ought to do. Question number 2. Are these expectations actually true? And number 3, where do they come from? A person with high self-worth asks these questions every day, or if not every. You may write them down in a journal or discuss them with a trusted friend or even your therapist. I enjoy the process of learning and at any moment realize that they have the power to change my own story. You can change your story anytime you get ready to. Your story is up to you. I hope you know that. It's your story. It might not have been that way when you were a kid, but you're not a kid now. So it's time to give up kid ways. Stop feeling bad for yourself of how I grew up. And get to your real life as an adult. Start asking yourself the real questions. Start putting circles around yourself or boundaries and make those boundaries stick. It's up to you. It's always been up to you. You have to trust yourself. This is 5 ways we compromise our self-worth. Write them down too if you have to. Perfection, overworking, busyness, comparison, and people pleasing. Just the way we compromise our self-worth. We should stop compromising today. They're not your mistakes. They are what you did, but they're not who you are. Remember, these are going to be up for you to be able to print these out. They're going to be up in the empowerment section. Self-respect, self-worth, and self-love all start with self. Stop looking outside yourself for your value. Don't ever doubt your worth. If you have to print all these out, stick them everywhere to help you along, that's okay. You do what you need to do to move forward. There's a fact right here. Got this printed out. Stick this one like on your bathroom window when you're getting ready in the morning, or stick it on your closet, so you see it before you get dressed. So I'm going to wrap this one up for y'all to be a short one today, but make sure that day and night you believe in yourself. Go back and watch the 1A and get all those questions, and you got the motivation video behind it. And this one's going to have a motivation behind it for 2A. So I'm not trying to rush y'all along. I'm trying to give y'all plenty of time to get these notes down for what you need to help you before we move on to number 3 lesson. So don't forget to watch the 2A video along with 2. So if you missed the beginning of this series, go back to 1A and 1. Then go to 2A and 2B. And let's get it done. We got, it's Saturday. Y'all do it at your own free will. Go out on Saturday, start a new day with pride. Carry yourself with confidence. That's the best gift you can give yourself. Good afternoon, ladies. Have fun.